Matty Parsons, welcome to the Weakside Help, man.
Benny, how are you?
I'm well, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. I'm excited. It's any time you play into a grand final, it's a massive relief of the body of work that's done from the playing group. But we get to enjoy that this week, and there's obviously a little bit of hype and media buzz around it. So look, it's quite an infectious process. But yeah, we're looking forward to for that ball to be tipped on Saturday.
Man, you talk about Saturday grand final against the Rockingham Flames. You won the championship in 2018. I read today on the NBL1 website that this one would mean a whole heck of a lot more to you.
Yep.
Why?
Look, I think you talk about the first two, and we talk about the system and structures and the game plans we put into place. When we were at Coburn, I was kind of able to pick and choose, cookie cutter sort of stuff when I came here, and we implemented the same systems and we found success doing the same thing. And in 2009, the end of 2019, I kind of sat around, spoke to Ben and certain stakeholders in the group and said, we need to try something different. Like, yes, it's worked in the past, and it was really hard to remove yourself from what you've known to work, but we were able to rebuild, completely change our structures and systems, and a lot of our philosophies were thrown out the window. We've really got out of that comfort zone to try and not only learn new systems, but to actually then teach them as well, which is sometimes the hard part, is trying to get that same message across no matter how much excitement you got. So we've been able to do that really successfully. We've had great buy-in from all of the players, and I think if you win a championship, that's the one with the new system, the new structure, and the one that was out of our comfort zone. So yeah, it would be pretty important, I think.
You talk about that structure and that system. I've said all season long on the broadcast that you're the deepest team in the league. Bringing in the guys like Casilla, Smith, Cole, Matt Leary's come on. How do you get guys to play their role and fit into that system?
I think just honest conversation is probably the first part. I mean, everyone's got an expectation, but understanding the athlete, it's really important to know what their agendas are and where they want to go with their career. And basketball's such a sparse demographic in players. You've got full-time employees with businesses, you've got uni students, you've got professional athletes, you've got aspiring NBL talent. It's just knowing where your athlete wants to go and being able to have honest conversations around it. But getting a group to buy in, getting players to buy into their roles, really just making sure they understand what that is. That's sometimes the hardest part, is they don't understand what's required of them, and the rest of it's done by the group. Like, peer pressure is an amazing thing, and if one guy's buying your role and he's a figurehead of your program, they kind of all fall in line pretty quick.
You touched on the multiple championships with multiple clubs. What's enjoyable about this group, Bart?
Oh, this is the most workman-like group. It's no fuss. They just come to work. Every training session is 100 miles an hour, and it's really refreshing to know that if you can sit around and focus on game plans and structures and scouts, that the players are going to do the work regardless of that. And I think sometimes as a coach you can get carried away, about what influence you have on the group, but at the end of the day, we're not out on the court when the ball goes in the air. But if you've got 5 guys that are prepared to jump on the floor, prepared to execute an offense, prepared to play D, and make sure that we're able to impact, particularly ruffling the feathers of the other teams in terms of trying to disrupt their offensive sets, then you're going to give yourself a chance to win the game.
There's a point of difference about Coach Parsons. Any time, whether we're playing Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, any stadium in Perth, you always got a bunch of guys who want to play for you, and there's this feeling that they love playing for you. What's the point of difference about Coach Parsons?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I see it a bit differently, I guess. It's, we still have the same issues as every other coach, but we've always had successful teams. I think that's the key. But all the successful teams are built on depth. So I guess it's just creating an environment where they can compete and they kind of get the rewards. And you're not belittling them. You're not talking to them in a negative sense. You're just kind of empowering them to have fun. And you probably see that with some of the older guys in the group as well. We've obviously brought in Ferguson, we've brought in Lewis Thomas, and those guys have come in with that same refreshed mind. And I'd like to think that we've touched a player in the sense that they're able to come back in and just reinvigorate their career and have a bit of fun. I think everything's based off fun, and if you make it a really difficult environment where they're just not enjoying it, well, then you're not going to get the results. So keeping it fresh, letting them have input into what we're trying to do, and I guess ownership's the key. And if you talk about a Coach Parsons philosophy, I guess it's just around ownership and the players having their own input.
Speaking about the players and their input, You got the all-time games record holder on your team, Ben Purser, absolute servant of the Perry Lakes Hawks. What do we don't get to see, but you get to see behind closed doors that makes him known to his teammates as the ultimate professional?
There's two sides of Benny, right? There's this ultra competitive, jack of all trades. Just does everything at 100 miles an hour. He's very respected amongst the group. He holds a great stand, with amongst his peers. Like the respect they give him is phenomenal. But he earns it through softness, because he's actually got a really soft side, and he earns it through his funny side. He's got a pretty amazing sense of humour, and it's kind of infectious. The guys really want to be around him, and he epitomises who Perry Lakes is. He deserves to get all the credit. He's the club's record holder. I hope he holds on to that for as long as anyone's trying to chase that record down. He's a phenomenal basketball player and a better human being.
You've had an incredible coaching career thus far, and you talked about your legacy just before. But there's this sort of term being thrown around, this idea of gratitude now. If Coach Parsons were to write a gratitude letter about his career, who would it be to, or who's had an impact?
Mate, if I was to write a gratitude letter, well, that's a really good question, because I've probably never ever considered that before, but it goes back to the players. I mean, they're the guys who are winning. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a minimal influence on what they're doing. They're the ones that have to get out there and cop the abuse from the opposition supporters and have to turn up when the lights are on. And I get to just stroll along the baseline or the sideline there, and not really, the only person I can talk to is the referees, which I've made a career of. But that would be my letter. Letter would be to the players and all of those players that have given me 100%. I'm super grateful for anyone that I've come across, and I'm grateful for things like this and opportunities to learn people's different personalities and exposure for the league, because I think the players deserve it. And we're lucky. We've got a great group of young kids that should have aspirations of next level, and more things like this gives them more opportunities for being in the spotlight, B, getting media training and being out of their comfort zone, but B, just to showcase their talents.
Hey Parsons, thanks for sitting down for the Weakside Help. All the best on Saturday, man.
Brilliant.
Let's make it number 3.
You too, mate. All the best on your call.
Cheers.
Can't wait to hear it.